Hey guys, Martin here. It's another Fanfic Friday video where we take random locations, random scenarios, and random characters from various pieces of media and put them into a bunch of bags and draw them out at random until we have all the elements of a fanfic. These elements are always completely inappropriate and they don't match each other at all, but we have to make them match in the fanfic that we have to subsequently write based on them. And it's again completely random, and we have only 30 minutes to create a story from all of these elements. So it's a race against time and a race against all logic, and usually it ends up a complete mess, but usually a fun mess. And if there isn't a better way to describe fanfiction than a fun mess, I don't know what is. Unfortunately, this week we didn't have any Caitlin, so there's just 2 fanfics this time, but I think you'll find they're well worth the time it takes to listen to them, because they were certainly worth the 30 minutes it took to write them. So please enjoy.
The following fanfics are based on existing properties. We do not own the rights to the characters or the locations associated with them. These stories are intended to be non-profit and are written for fun only. Each author was randomly assigned 2 characters, a location, and a scenario. Each contestant was given 30 minutes to finish their story. What follows is the shocking results.
Hey everybody, I am conscious. I'm here. I'm awake. I'm ready to do this. For this week, I drew Lana from Archer and Slave Leia. And the location was at the end of the rainbow, and the scenario was trying Mary Jane. So I figured that the scenario could inform the location a bit, and I wouldn't make it a literal location. I decided I'd write about synesthesia, which is where kind of like one sense is triggered by another sense. So something very common is when people hear, well, more common is when people hear music, they'll see color, or when they see color, it'll trigger a feeling in their body or something like that. So I decided to write Lana having synesthesia as being at the end of the rainbow. So I hope you enjoy it. Lana was conscious, but she wasn't awake. Her body was alive, each sensation a rippling impression of color across her muscles. She blinked, a soft red flickering across her vision as she both saw and felt the motion of her eyelids moving. Her hand lifted to her lips, arm blazing a brilliant yellow with the movement, and she took a luxurious drag from a dying cigarette. Lana knew she was at home. She was sitting on her plush couch in her living room enjoying a quiet evening alone, but her altered state of mind allowed her to be anywhere she wanted to be with just a thought. Music vaguely tickled the backs of her ears, plunking out from her cell phone resting on her coffee table, and each shift in the song shifted the colors in the room, enabling her imagination to fill in the blanks. Madonna's voice lilted from the speakers, the song eliciting an icy blue. Suddenly Lana was somewhere unfamiliar, a chilly-looking room littered with computers. She felt as though she knew it from somewhere but was unable to place it. "Mind if I share?" A woman's voice came from her left, and Lana leapt to her right in alarm as she let out a rather undignified noise. Flipping around to face the stranger, Lana found that it wasn't a stranger at all. The woman, annoyed at the lack of an answer, helped herself to Lana's cigarette. "You didn't say no, so don't mind if I do." Princess Leia Organa sat beside her, clad in the famous golden bikini present in many a fanboy or fangirl's wet dreams. Lana hated it, though in her altered state she couldn't deny that she gathered a healthy eyeful of skin before responding. "Oh, do you not like it?" Leia looked down at her outfit. Lana wondered idly if her face had that strong an expression of distaste. "I kinda think it's stupid too, but it's nice when it's hot out." "Why are you—" "Fuck if I know, sweetheart. You got some pretty good weed, though," the princess said casually, the joint dangling roughly from her lips as she spread her knees apart to rest her elbow upon one of them. Lana pulled herself up into a sitting position, core glowing orange as the song changed to something more indigo, shifting the look of the room with them. They were in Cloud City now, a large observational window sitting where her TV used to be, and the colors in the song painted the sky with shifting textures. "Do they have weed in space?" Lana asked absent-mindedly, and Leia nodded fervently, brows clashing to let her know the seriousness of her ignorance. "They've got just about anything you can imagine, sister." "Shit. Maybe I should get space weed. Inside of space. Can you be inside of space? I want to be inside of space." "Well, Archer goes AWOL all the time, doesn't he?" Leia said casually, smoke pluming from her nose like a dragon. "Maybe it's your turn." Lana raised a dark eyebrow at the suggestion. "How do you know about Archer?" "I'm in your head. I know everything you know. Maybe I'm representing your frustration with being a woman. Maybe I represent the woman you want to be. Maybe I'm the idealized parts of you that you've superimposed onto a familiar feminist figure. The princess shrugged, the gold bikini slowly melting into her skin and changing into a flowing white dress. Or maybe I'm just a drug-induced daydream with no meaning at all. Leia's white dress flickered with colors that didn't really exist, moving and pulsing with each beat of the music that was still softly playing. Well, it's nice to have some estrogen in here that doesn't belong to Mallory. Lana sighed, accepting the joint that was being handed back to her from the princess. She noticed that nothing was missing from her last drag. Or Archer, since he still seems connected to her via umbilical cord. Leia winced at the visual, but understood it because she had access to all the information that Lana had. Sharing a brain with someone, even someone who didn't technically exist, was so much more convenient. Lana rubbed her eyes, feeling sleep start to cloak over her limbs like a blanket. "You're a woman who's got her shit together, Leia," Lana said, glancing over at her hallucination. "I feel like I'm surrounded by idiots and sociopaths that are constantly trying to kill me or each other. You managed to get that Han guy under control, right?" Leia shot her a dubious look. "No, I didn't. You saw the new movie, right?" "No, I'm so fucking tired of hearing about Star Wars." Lana sighed in exasperation before letting herself puzzle over that new information that she had. "Wait, how did I know about Han?" "Forget it." Leia brushed over the plot hole with little consideration. "Just know that you can't change someone without their permission. Once an asshole, always an asshole." Her hand moved with the final sentence for emphasis. Lana nodded sleepily, slouching further into the couch. "So take the power out of their hands and give it to yourself. If someone tells you you can't do something, you prove them wrong until they believe that you can, or they get tired of telling you that you can't." "You're so right, Princess Leia," Lana murmured as her eyes shifted closed. "You're always right. I love you." The only response was simple. "I know."
Hey guys, Martin here. For my fanfic this week, the characters I got were, and this is how she described it, whiny crybaby Kylo Ren, which was submitted by my wife, I believe, Loki, which is great because they're both two very, I don't want to say flamboyant, but very dramatic and emotional and exaggerated characters with long black hair, with gorgeous long flowing black hair, who the fangirls seem to love. The location is IKEA, which was suggested by somebody in the comments. Yume Hop Hype is their name, I believe. I don't know if their name is Yume Hop and they are Hype, or if that's their full name. I'd have to check their birth certificate. And the scenario, which really threw me for a loop, is bungee jumping, which I've never done, and I'm not sure if they partake in that activity in IKEA. I don't believe so. But for the sake of the story, let's pretend, shall we? "Look how old you've become." Kylo Ren stood imposingly in the aisle of the IKEA furniture store, his humongous belt a thick leather loop about his midsection as his ridged helmet bore down upon the hapless employee who had offered to show him where the coffee tables were. Said the man whose name tag identified him as Bob. "I'm 38? "Your eyes betray you." Ren's sinister modulated voice came at the IKEA worker once more, like a cross between Daft Punk and Marvin the Paranoid Android. "You have seen much more than you would have me know. But you must of course realize that nothing remains hidden from the First Order for very long." Bob fidgeted as Ren's helmeted brow came forward, head tilting with interest as though with but a glance Ren could see into his thoughts and his desires. His fears. "So as I was saying, aisle 5 is just past where the kitchen furniture section—" "Do you think I cannot navigate this primitive facility without your assistance?" Kylo Ren scoffed, waving a gloved hand. "I'll have you know I'm very good at finding and taking whatever I want. Unless it's a map to find Luke Skywalker," Hux quipped from the pet furniture area as he perused their cat towers. He owned a particularly picky feline he had dubbed Millicent. Ren visibly clenched his entire muscular system as he recalled small vestiges of cat poop in his helmet one morning. That was not a good day for the First Order. Then he's up Naboo's planet call without a bongo. Kylo Ren chose to ignore Hux's commentary. "I will locate the furniture I require. And then," he spoke this next part over his gaunt shoulder to Hux, "I will show you the power of Feng Shui." Kylo Ren strode past Bob, ignoring his pleas to fill out a questionnaire at one of their handy computer terminals to let the company know how good his service was today. Instead, he chose to redouble his efforts and find a cheap replacement for his table. "It wouldn't be a problem if Supreme Leader Snoke put more emphasis on the First Order's furniture budget." Ren's voice erupted through the relative quiet of the IKEA outlet. But no, instead I have to make do with shoddy workmanship. Every time I lose my temper, I whip out my lightsaber for 1 second and bam! Furniture is no more. It's not my fault they don't build it to last. Kylo Ren spent the next hour trying to figure out how to get from aisle 12 to aisle 5, his force senses apparently dulled by the intense dark energies emitting from the heart of this IKEA branch. Ren had long suspected that the creators of IKEA had had some dealings with the Sith of old. How else would you explain their ominous labyrinthine designs for their buildings? Or how nobody could enter an IKEA without leaving it in a really shitty mood. Ren was stronger than most, however, and he was not about to allow some subpar shopping experience upset him. 5 minutes later, he came to yet another turn that threatened to lead to the IKEA's completely superfluous restaurant and children's play area. He roared and unleashed his saber, swearing that he was going to find Bob and divide him into 100 tiny pieces that could only be reassembled with some enclosed instructions, when he was distracted by a loud, prattling voice with a harsh British accent. "I said get off me, you vile vermin! I shall set upon you like the ice-cold hands of death!" Loki screamed from inside the play area, where he had apparently been trying out the new bungee jump set that had been built especially for the big kids. Upon jumping, he had soon regretted wearing his entire ensemble, helmet included, while testing the tenacity of the bungee cord out. As such, his unnecessarily long twin horns had stabbed into the ground and caused him to become stuck. Children were surrounding him and poking at him with various toys and other kid-related paraphernalia. "Unhand my staff, you wouldn't know how to use it." "Look how stupid you've become," Kylo Ren observed from the doorway, shaking his behelmeted head at the arrogant god of trickery. He and Loki had carpooled over to the IKEA. Ren had been in need of a new table, and Loki just wanted to cause more mayhem. And where better to do so than here? That's my entire reasoning for Loki even being at the IKEA is, why not? "Here, let me help you down." Ren raised his saber aloft and swung it down, separating the bungee cord from Loki's feet, causing the god to fall into a heap. With a snarl, Loki arose and shot various threatening looks at the kids surrounding him. "Kneel!" One of the children raised his hand. Loki and Kylo Ren looked askance at him. "Yes, what is it, small human creature?" asked Loki. "I'm Neil," the boy announced. "Did you have any luck finding your coffee table, then?" Loki turned to Ren after he had finished bludgeoning the child with his scepter. "No," Ren admitted, his shoulders slouching despondently, "but perhaps I have a better idea." Later, on Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer the Finalizer, Ren sat back with a mug of warm coffee pressed to the area of his helmet where his mouth would be, caffeinated beverage pouring down his front as he attempted to drink through the mask to little success. He looked down at his newly acquired table, which was Loki hunched over on all fours, and crossed his boots upon it, making himself comfortable. "I swear I have never known such degradation," Loki cursed. "Even the Chitauri treated me with greater respect." "You'd better not get me upset," Kylo Ren warned, his free hand reaching for his lightsaber hilt. "You know what happens to furniture when I get mad." "I miss my brother," remarked Loki pithily through grated teeth. Kylo Ren frowned and touched his coffee mug, noting that his drink had lowered to room temperature. "Look how cold you've become." That's it for another Fanfic Friday video. Please do keep suggesting things in the comments in as far as locations, characters, and scenarios go. We really do appreciate you guys providing us with extra characters, locations, and scenarios, because there's only so many we can think of. Our brains are too busy worrying about how to tie everything together to actually come up with something original. But I hope you enjoyed this week's Fanfic Friday, and as always, look forward to the next one. Who knows what we'll be writing about? It'll be interesting. So hope to see you then.